So hello, my name's John Phillipson and it's a real privilege that I've been asked to do this first chat for part of WOW Church. It is the first one, so it's going to have imperfections. I hope you'll forgive that. So I'd like to talk a little bit about goals, really, about things that strive us to go forward on our journeys. Certainly not football goals. Any of those that you know me will know that I'm never going to be talking about football goals. But it's anything that inspires us, anything that we think actually our life might be better if we went forward with those. And I want to explore some of the approaches that we might have to trying to achieve those goals as well. So as we look at goals and as we look at what we want to achieve, I want to talk about how that might relate to having a closer relationship with God as a goal as well. And I think any of us who have a Christian belief will try and aspire to walk with Jesus, to have a closer relationship with God and to be more at one with God really, and to follow the example that his son gave us. So God seems like a good place to start, and we'll all have our own vision of what God might look like to us and that person that we want to have the closer relationship with. You know, you might have a view of God as sitting there on a beautiful glistening golden throne with a lovely freshly persiled white robe, a really good full hipster beard, not an apology like this one, and just being almost silhouetted with a fantastic bright light behind him. And if that's your view of God, that you've got that and you know that's what you're heading for, and then that's brilliant because it's something very clear that you can go forward to. But for some of us, it might be a little bit more vague than that. We might not really know what we think about God and what we know about God and whether we feel God is calling us at all for a close relationship. So goals, really. Sometimes we look at these goals and they can seem like a long way off. We might think about that view of God, but there might be other things that we can think about that we aspire to as well. But they seem like it's the start of a very long journey to try and get to there from where you are at the moment. There's a story that a missionary tells about a young boy who every day had to walk for 7 miles along a straight dusty road to get the water for his family. And the missionary said to him, you know, how do you get up every morning and look down that really long road? You can just about see a speck in the distance, which is the only town with a well in it. And how do you drive yourself to set off every morning? And the young boy, who was wearing a little baseball cap to keep the sun off his face, said it's quite easy. I just tip my baseball cap down and I can only then ever see the mile in front of me. And the journey only ever seems like it's going to be a mile long. And that worked for him. And there's a lot to be said for breaking down those journeys into shorter, more manageable parts. And the same also is true of our spiritual journey as well. And it's a good time perhaps to remember that God is a patient God. He doesn't care how long it takes us to get to him, because not only does he have all the time in the world, he is all the time in the world, and he is at every part of time in the world. So he already has you at his door with his arms around you at the point at which you're setting off on that journey. God has all the time in the world. So let's try and think about 3 ways that we could make these steps towards our goals more manageable. And we can see our goal glistening in the distance, but sometimes, as I say, it feels too far away. And we have the sea of giving up lapping around us, lapping around our feet, which we want to try and stop falling into, because sometimes it takes even more energy to try and get yourself out of the sea of giving up and then start again on your journey. So let's imagine that between us and our goal are some stepping stones that come up out of the sea of giving up, and actually that breaks the journey up a little bit, makes it seem a little bit more manageable perhaps. How can we look at getting over to that first step now? Not quite so far away, but still it's a challenge. One of the things that I find really helpful is anything that I can use as a bridge or a plank, something that will get me from A to B before I then go on to C and to D. And this could be any external influence. So I guess if your goal was trying to get an A star in your GCSE, It might be a brilliant textbook that really explains things to you very carefully. Or it might be that you've got a really clever friend who you pit yourself against, and that actually sort of inspires you to keep going. Or it might be a fantastic teacher who's able to bring real clarity to the subject. And any of those things can be a plank. If your goal is to be happier, then it might be that one of your planks is people who are kind to you, people who are encouraging to you. It might be that you can join a club that does something that you know gives you some sort of level of joy. And if it's your spiritual journey, then it might be a preacher. It might be a fantastic preacher, someone much better than me, I guess. Or it might be a part of scripture, a passage from the Bible. Or it might be a book that you read. And just something external that makes you think, gosh, I'd like a bit of that. I'd like to be closer to God. So something that is a bridge, something that's external, something that gives you a passage from one stepping stone to the next stepping stone. So well done, everyone. We are on stepping stone number 1, and now we have stepping stone number 2 ahead of us. So what else could we use to try and get forward? When I was little, me and my sister used to entertain ourselves. We didn't have iPads. We just about had a colour TV, I think, because I'm very ancient. But we used to play a game where we would go onto the first step of our stairs in our house and then jump off. Go 1, 2, 3 and jump off. And after congratulating ourselves on that, we then go on to the second step and we jump off that. And we jump off, go up to the third, jump off that. By the time we got to about the 7th or 8th step, actually it took a bit more courage to make that jump. And I remember there I was probably 6 or 7 or 8, and standing on that 9th step, looking down, thinking that is a long way. But I know I did the 8th, so I can do the 9th. I can do the 9th. I'm going to count down from 3. I'm going to go from 3. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. No, I'm going to go from 5. I'm going to go 5. 5 would be better. 5, 4. Right. But eventually, something deep inside you draw down, and you can make that leap. You can make that jump. So it's when external things aren't around, there is an internal strength that we have. It's a blessing that we are given, and we can really reach down. It might be courage, it might be perseverance. It's all of those things that really make us want to go forward, that are within ourselves. So there'll be times when external influences aren't enough, and we have to look at things like courage, perseverance, self-discipline. Again, if you're trying to get an A star, that will be about being prepared to do the work, being prepared to do that revision, being prepared to sit there and focus on those lessons where actually only you can do that. If it's about being happy and smiling more, then it might be that where you have to really reach down is when you get knocked, when you come up against negative people, when you have situations that you just know you have to smile through to keep on that path. And likewise, with your spiritual journey, it could be as easy as just having the strength to stand up and say, actually I'm a Christian and I want to have a closer relationship with God, and being brave enough to be able to say that out loud so that people know that's the journey you're on. So this final step is about the draw of being so close to that which you've hankered for that you can feel yourself being drawn into home. If it's your GCSE, then it's when you know that you've done enough work for an A and it's just a little bit more to get to the A star. Why wouldn't you do that little bit more? You are so close, you can feel the A star. If it's about being happy, then actually it might be that you just think, do you know what, I'm more happy than I am sad now, and just feeling that balance going will actually make you happier and get you to see that goal. And I think on your spiritual journey, when you're close enough to feel that you now understand whatever that question was that you were seeking as far as God is concerned, that you feel actually that question may be answered, or that question may be partly answered, or you're so close that you realise that wasn't the right question, but now I know what the right question is. And that final closeness can actually draw you to your goal. And that's not to say that these journeys finish at that point. I think in life, most journeys actually then take you on to somewhere else, and the journey doesn't end. And certainly for your own spiritual journey, that shouldn't end. I think if you were to ask the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Pope if they had finally reached their destination of being as close to God as they would want to, they would both say, actually, do you know what? I would be really sad if I felt I'd finished that journey, because that is what my life is about. My life is about constantly seeking to walk closer with God through walking through life with Jesus as my companion. So I'm just going to finish with a very short prayer for you all. So Lord, I want to thank you for being so much of a goal in our lives. I want to pray that you will be in the lives of all those people watching this video, that you will hold them, that you will bless them, and that you will shine your light into their lives, that they may see a path to you. Amen.